They say the quiet ones are the easiest to erase. I used to think that too, until the day my husband and his mistress had to pack up and leave the very house they'd tried to steal from me. Funny how silence, when used right, can feel like thunder. Let me take you back. My name's Evelyn Carter. I turned 50 last fall, the same week my husband James decided to hit reset on our marriage by moving straight in with a woman barely older than our son. 27 years together, gone in the time it takes to sign your name. I got the divorce papers on a rainy Tuesday. He said, "We've outgrown each other." Couldn't even look me in the eye. I remember watching his hands, how steady they were. I kept thinking, does none of this matter to you? The debts, the surgeries, the late-night tears, the years spent building a life in this little brick house in Charlotte? For a while, I just sat there, numb. I'd given up a promotion for him, spent 2 years caring for his sick mother in our guest room, never once complained. I cooked, I cleaned, I balanced the checkbook. I thought all that counted for something. Turns out it has an expiration date. 3 weeks after the divorce bomb, James was living with Brianna Lowe, a junior marketing associate from his office. She's 34. Yes, the same age as Ethan, our son. He didn't even try to hide it. Suddenly, Brianna's all over my old kitchen, sipping wine in my living room, grinning for Instagram in front of the fireplace I picked out, tile by tile. I guess I was supposed to fade away. Cry for a while, then slink off into the shadows. They forgot the house wasn't just his. Let me tell you, ownership is a funny thing. Sometimes it's about whose name is on the paperwork. First few days I felt erased. Not even angry, just hollowed out. I kept remembering moments, like folding laundry for the last time, or packing lunches at the kitchen table, thinking, how did it end up like this? But that feeling didn't last. Because then Brianna sent me a letter. Pink stationery, like a baby shower invite. Dear Evelyn, please arrange a time to collect your belongings. James and I prefer to begin our new chapter without disruptions. Mornings are best. Sincerely, Brianna Lowe. Disruption? In the home I'd scrubbed, paid for, painted, and protected? My hands shook reading it, more out of rage than grief. That's when it hit me. My name was still on the deed. James had never refinanced, and he hadn't bought me out. Guess he thought I'd just give up everything, like always. Not this time. I called Sandra Fisher, my oldest friend from college, now a family attorney who's seen it all. She just asked one thing. Your name's still on the deed? Yup. He buy you out? Nope. Her voice went calm, almost cold. Then you still own half that house. I could feel something shift inside me, like a heavy door finally swinging open. She laid it out. I could force a sale or demand James and Brianna buy out my share at market value. They had no right to keep me out. For the first time since the split, I felt steady. I didn't scream, didn't threaten, I just moved, quietly. 2 days later, James called me, fake casual. Did you really hire a lawyer? Yep. He tried to guilt-trip me, said I was making it hard. I kept my tone level. You already did. Brianna switched tactics, sent me a second email, not even pretending to be sweet. Told me I was humiliating myself. Said James deserved a fresh start. Said I was clinging to a dead marriage. I didn't reply. I just called Sandra and said, let's turn up the heat. We filed the paperwork. Partition action, airtight. Not revenge, restoration. I wasn't making noise, I was making moves. They never saw it coming. I remember the day I walked back into that house. Still had my old key. Didn't schedule anything. Just showed up. Like I belonged there, because I did. Because I... pulled into the driveway. There was a new white BMW in my old spot. Hers, of course. I stood on the porch for a second, steadying myself. Wasn't here for a fight, wasn't here to cry, just to collect my things. The door opened with the same click. Inside, it felt off. Couch was the same, but everything else was wrong. Walls painted beige, like a doctor's office. Family photos gone, replaced with those tacky quotes. Good vibes only. No soul, just Pinterest and pretense. I went to the kitchen. My spice rack, gone. My mason jar, now filled with gluten-free granola bars. That's when she appeared. Brianna, coming down the stairs in one of James's t-shirts. She stopped dead when she saw me. "What are you doing here?" I held up her own email. "Came to get my things, like you suggested." She bristled. "You were supposed to schedule. There are boundaries." I just walked past, calm as glass. As long as my name's still on this house, I'll come and go as I please. Her face turned red. "James will hear about this." Good. He should have been here himself. I packed a few books, an old photo of Ethan as a baby, my mom's necklace. Didn't take much. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't want anything from them. The only thing I wanted was justice. 2 days later, Sandra called. Court had accepted the partition action. James and Brianna were officially on notice. James blew up my phone. Frantic voicemails. "You're forcing us to sell! You're ruining our lives!" Brianna called, voice trembling. "You're humiliating us. Please, Evelyn, be a woman about this." I just told her, "Being a woman means knowing your worth. I'm done shrinking for you." Then I blocked her number. They tried to fight it, hired a lawyer, claimed emotional distress. The judge just looked at the deed, looked at the mortgage, and said what I'd been waiting months to hear. Mrs. Carter remains a legal co-owner. Unless there's a buyout, the property must be sold. 60 days. They had 60 days to pay me, or pack up and leave. I already knew they couldn't do either. Now the house was up for sale. By owner. They were trying to save on commissions, desperate for a break. But karma's got a cruel sense of timing. Market was soft. Every day I drove by and saw the "for sale" sign drooping in the yard. A few weeks later, Sandra called. Full offer, no contingencies. Young couple expecting their first child, loved the garden. James texted me. "We need to talk about staging." Then, "Please don't remove everything. Brianna's feeling really exposed right now." I nearly laughed. Funny. She never felt exposed swanning around in my kitchen, calling me pathetic. I let Sandra handle it all. Never set foot in that house again. That was the point. The closer it got to closing, the worse things got for them. Ethan, our son, told me James was sleeping on the couch. Brianna was snapping at everyone, calling the realtor in tears, begging to postpone showings. The agent just reminded her, "Court order's a court order." A week before closing, James showed up at my new place. Tiny, quiet, nothing fancy, but it was mine. He looked smaller. Not thin, just beaten. He tried to smile, hands shoved in his pockets. "I need a favor. Can you help with the deposit on our new place? We're short." I blinked. "Excuse me?" He raised his hands, sheepish. "We just didn't think you'd go this far." "You thought I'd stay quiet?" I asked. He nodded, slow. "You've never been the type to retaliate." "I'm not retaliating," I said. "I'm restoring. There's a difference." He looked at his shoes. "Brianna's staying with her sister. I'm in a motel near Maple Grove." I shook my head. "You didn't just replace me, James. You erased me, so I did the same." He had nothing left to say. When the sale closed, I got my check. Not a fortune, but enough. I didn't book a trip, didn't buy a new car, just sat at my kitchen table, a smaller one now, poured myself tea, and watch the sun slant across the tiles. You know, people always mistake silence for surrender, but sometimes it's just strategy. So, who really won?